And you touched on it a second ago. If you're not injured, how does a sportsman begin to cope with 8 months away from the game?
In the first place, I feel like personally, I didn't watch football. I didn't watch football for a while.
Ivan Toney's absolutely fuming with the FA, and to a certain extent, you can completely understand why. Sandro Tonali was given a 10-month ban by FIFA, which is only 2 fewer months than Toney, despite betting on teams within his own league as an AC Milan player, something which Toney never did. What really seemed to piss Toney off though is the fact that Tonali has been allowed to train with Newcastle throughout his suspension, while Toney was banished from entering any training ground in the country for the first 3 months of his ban. When quizzed about this by Sky Sports, Toney stated, "Life's not fair. We all know this, but the more you dwell on it, the more it's going to hurt you. I can't change anything, so it's pointless." Which, in my eyes, is a reasonably well-balanced outlook on the situation. Now, in case you're sat there wondering why Toney took part in this interview, it's because he's all set to return to action versus Nottingham Forest on the 20th of January. With speculation surrounding his future rife, he also wanted to make it clear that he'll be remaining with Brentford this window, stating that they're a family club and have been nothing but amazing towards him during what was an incredibly difficult 8 months. He thanked the fans, who were singing his name week in week out, manager Thomas Frank, who ensured extra sessions took place for him even though that wasn't a part of the memo, and captain Christian Norgard, who regularly checked up on him to see how he was doing when others in his position might have focused exclusively on the players that were available. Toney went on to say, "I have a lot to repay them with, and I can't wait to try and do that." As for the interviewer himself, he was a bastard of the highest order. He asked Toney the same question in 50 different ways to get the answer his employers told him to look for, which is that Toney has depression, even though he made it crystal fucking clear that he doesn't. In fact, to Toney's credit, he refused to feel sorry for himself. And rightly so, because what happened was very much his own doing. And sometimes in life, you just have to take it on the chin, hold your hand up, learn from your mistake, and move on. As showcased by the video I did yesterday on Thierry Henry, mental health is very real, but it's no good trying to force it upon someone just to get clicks and views. Toney even bit back by saying, "Look, there's always someone worse off than you are. My situation was that I couldn't play football. I know other people out there fighting for their lives." Thereafter, he stated that he stopped watching football altogether for much of his ban, which is big considering he was tuning into every Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two game which was on the television before that. I'm not gonna lie, that bit made me chuckle, because that's the time he was placing bets like a fucking madman. But ultimately, people make mistakes, and society as a whole needs to wisen up to that a little bit. I mean, for fuck's sake, there's people incessantly taking the piss out of Toney, as if they've done no wrong throughout their own lives. He served his time, and I reckon it should be water under the bridge now. Toney ended by saying that he's in much better shape than he was a year ago, and had a message for those saying he won't reach the heights of last season ever again. Watch this space, because he's built different mentally. That's a bit cocky, no doubt, but I suppose you need some self-confidence when the entire world's shitting on you. Cheers for tuning in as always. Do let me know whether or not you're on the same page as I am down below. Check out the video on screen if you haven't already seen it, and I'll catch you in the next one, folks. Peace.